Hi everybody, Amber here. I'm going to be taking you through today how I create my AI generated fashion shorts, and I'll be taking you through my sort of thought process and my workflow. And the way that I've been approaching these is I have a bit of a vision in mind. I then create static images in Midjourney, and then I bring those static images into Runway to animate them using AI. Hopefully, this will give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing and inspire you to make your own as well. So starting off with the vision, I wanted a fashion short to have a very fashion editorial campaign sort of feel to it. So I want quite consistent frames in the video. I've drawn inspiration this time from my heritage. I am South Asian, I'm Pakistani and Afghani, and I wanted something that was going to be very soft, very ethereal looking, and I've gone for a sort of Asian bridal couture look. So it's really important to have that end product in mind when you start to prompt the AI. So let's dive into the AI tools, starting off with Midjourney. I will do a deep dive at some point on all the different features in Midjourney, and Midjourney can be accessed in two different ways. So you can use the browser-based creation tool, and you can also use Discord interface. So this is how they originally launched, and I find that I still do use the Discord interface when I'm on the go, so I can do it on my phone. But let's come into the browser-based tool. So as you can see, I've made a little bit of a start, and I'll take you through my 5 key stages of how I prompt in Midjourney. Let's take an example, and let's take this text. So the first stage of prompting, I want to describe the main subject that I want in the image. So a Pakistani model. So I want to have an Asian model. I then describe the peripheral elements that I want in the picture. So I want her to be in Asian bridal couture. I want the bridal couture to be pastels, pinks, and peach. I'd like it to be ornately embroidered Pakistani bridal fashion. And I want the setting to be against some Jurassic white cliffs and pink sand. I then start to describe, as the third part of prompting, some of the aspects of the style of image that I want to create. So I wanted to create a windswept fashion shoot, the highest quality fashion portrait, and I want it in the style of Harper's Bazaar and Vogue editorials. And you can see that actually I've got not bad results from that prompt. The fourth part of my prompting is to start to give a little bit more around the quality of the image that I want. So I want it to be a beauty editorial, and I want it to be shot on a Canon 5D Mark III, and you can use any camera of your choice, but it just gives the AI a little bit more specificity of the type of output that you want to create. And you can get even more specific here. You can start to name lenses, you can have your focal lengths, you can have depth of field in here. So there's a number of things that you can put in your prompt that help to really specify the output that you create. And then finally, there are some Midjourney specific parameters like aspect ratio, like style references that you do a dash aspect ratio. And I want to put in for YouTube, because I'm making a YouTube video short, I put in an aspect ratio of 16:9, but there's a number of different parameters that you can put in for Midjourney. So if I hit enter and create on this, it starts to create those images for us. I'm going to speed some of that up because it takes about 30 to 40 seconds for some of this to complete. Now, had I not put in those aspect ratios, The default output that Midjourney will create in is a square image. So if you don't put any aspect ratios in, this is the default output that you would get from Midjourney. So you can create different aspect ratios depending on whether you're creating for an Instagram reel or TikTok and you want more of a portrait aspect ratio, whether you're creating in square, or like myself, whether you're creating in a 16:9 YouTube landscape ratio. So you can see that I've got a set of images and they look quite consistent in the images. Now, it's AI, so there's an element of serendipity. The model here has got her eyes closed. So I'm going to do a little bit of a rerun on this prompt. So what you can do is you can vary an image. So taking that top left image, so let's do very strong. And see the output that we get. I'll go back to one of my previous images and I will vary this one as well, and I will vary this one as well. So now you can see that first variation. It's given me slightly different looking girls, different looking outfits, and slightly different poses. So I will take some of these and we can upscale some of them. We can rerun some of them. Rerun means just repeating the prompt. So that gives me a variety of images that then I can pick from for the short. So I've got a number of images here now that I'd like to take into Runway. So I'm going to pick a couple of them. Let's pick, I like this one. So if I come into this image, I can download it from here. I will go to a couple more. Let's take this one as well. And then let's take one where we've got a little bit more of her body in there. So that's creating the images in Midjourney and my 5-stage sort of prompting guideline. So let's now dive into Runway and bring those static images for some animation. So when you come into Runway, you can see here that you can do a number of things. So the generative session is how you animate your static image. You can generate audio in here. You can do text to image prompting, just like Midjourney and Adobe Firefly. There's a number of tools I'm not going to go into today. We're going to do a generative session. So let's click on the generative session. You then select the image that you want to bring over. So let's come into here and I'm going to bring in this image here. You need credits in Runway to prompt the AI. About £10 of UK money gets you 1,000 credits. And each generation, depending on the length of clip that you want to generate, so you can generate a 10-second clip or a 5-second clip, and you can set your resolution. So the resolution and the duration of your clip is going to determine how many credits get used. So for a 5-second clip at 720, it costs me 25 credits. Now, the prompting in Runway is slightly different to Midjourney. So Midjourney needs a few levels of specificity to get the outcome that you want. What I found in Runway is the simpler you keep your prompt, the better the outcome. So the more complicated I make any text prompts here, it does sort of janky, weird stuff to the output, whether that's strange anatomy or it will give me a weird movement. So I keep it super simple here. So what I'm going to text prompt is I'm going to say woman moves her head turning to camera. The other way that you can prompt in Runway is traditional cameraman or camera woman moves. You can move horizontally, you can pan across the frame, you can vertically move the camera up and down, you can tilt, roll and zoom out. So I'm going to do a zoom out on this image. So let's hit generate. Generations in Runway take about 30 to 40 seconds. I will speed that up a little bit. So let's take a look and see what it's done here. So it's zooming out, but it's quite static in her head isn't really moving and she's not really turning to look. So what we do is we give feedback to the AI model. You can do this on Midjourney as well. And I'm going to give this 4 stars because it has done the zoom out quite well, but it's got quite a lack of motion in her body. So I'm going to give that feedback back to them. So let's take off the zoom out and let's have her in the text prompt. Let's have woman turns body to face camera and see what happens there. So I'm going to do one more generation, but then what I'll do is I'll take you through some of the other clips that I've made in the past, showing you the motion and the prompt that generated that motion. So let's take a look at this. And again, that's going to get a 3 stars from me. I may as well pan out. Really lack of motion. And this is how you get through all your credits. So it doesn't always give you what you want, and it is still in its infancy, which is why the feedback loop is so important. So let me take you through some of the stuff that I've generated in the past. So let's go back to my dashboard. We go into my private area and we go into previous generations. So let me show you, I've got a few shorts here that I've made in the past. So if we look here, you can see her head moved quite a lot. We said woman moves her head down slowly in a soft yet confident way. So that was the prompt. And it will give you the resolution and the seed image that you used. So let me take you to another clip that I've made. And I've said here, woman moves her head slowly, turning away from the camera. And you can see actually one of her fingers disappeared as her hand came down. It's very subtle, and actually in post, when I start to edit some of these and it's got the music in the background, some of those things become less noticeable, but I'm not creating stuff for commercial purposes anyway. So you can see that there's still some limitations to what you can do. Let me take you through. This one was a really pretty one as well. So I said, woman moves slowly. And I've got some here. You can see here. Here I said, woman sitting still, slowly blinking and lightly nodding. And you can see some of that motion is actually quite smooth and nice. And here we have a couple, let me see. I had woman move slowly, sitting still in a breeze, her hair slightly windswept. Now, I haven't actually used any camera controls here, but it's done its own thing by panning and sort of zooming into her very slightly. I will show you one final one. I've got woman sits still, nods slowly and lightly. The frame is still. It didn't listen to me again because the frame is not still, it's panning, but it's a really beautiful output. So I'm a bit forgiving at this point of AI models. So now you can see how I have animated some of my static images using Runway. What I then do is I bring those clips into an editing tool and I stitch them together. So I use CapCut and I will bring audio in that sort of matches the aesthetic for the sort of, campaign editorial that I want to have. And I usually edit so that the frame changes match the beat of the music as well. I will link some of my AI shorts below so that you can see the final results of the type of thing that I'm creating. And hopefully this gives you an idea of my workflow, gives you a bit of inspiration, and helps you get started on creating some of your own AI generated shorts. For more content like this, do give me a follow, and I'll see you in the next one.